Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Gabriel Brent, and with me I have a good friend William, and we are going to be doing the forecast and summary of the Forex markets. So we're going to look back at the past, see what price action has done over time, as well as forecast what we think price action will do for the next coming week. So let's go ahead and get started. And just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because I think that's very, very important as we talk about things. What I want to be looking at and what I want to be doing here is basically give you an idea of how we're going to approach this thing, okay? Because everybody has different ways of looking at the market. So I'm just going to look at how we're looking at the markets and explain a little bit about that real quick. So first off, we're going to assume that you're familiar with the Epizone's trend following approach, okay? We're using 3 different time frames, weekly, daily, and a 60-minute, okay, for context of trend and price action. Our daily chart is where we're drawing our trend ideas from, okay? So it is it's a very important chart. And then the weekly, we find supply and demand levels. If you're not familiar with the Epizone style of supply and demand, please feel free to check out the website and you'll learn more there. Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to take a few of these markets and then William is going to take a few others. And as you can see, we also have a wonderful little market analyzer down here that is actually scanning all of our markets. It's telling us trend direction, as well as if we get our proprietary methods diamonds on the charts, okay, so that we can use those for price action confirmation of these zones here on our entry time frame, okay, and if they go along with the trend direction, okay, so it's real simple. Take the methods diamonds in the direction of trend and you will be a winner chicken dinner, okay. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm looking at the pound CAD real quick, and on the big time frames, it still looks like we got some room to fall. You know, we've just now made a slightly new low on the weekly charts, so I'm thinking it's going to be going down. And if we're running with trend in that type of idea, we're going to expect to see this level break. It's already bounced off the level, you know, 1, 2 times, and I'm thinking that it's going to go ahead and crater through. All right. As of today, we did see that level get broken through. So you can see the nice little wick down there going through that zone. So the downtrend is still continuing on in the overall bigger move to the downside. Okay. So if that's the case, then I would only be looking to buy up high and that kind of idea. Now, it looks like we had kind of an interesting thing happen here as far as the zones overall. Just real quick, we were looking for that little retracement from last week to give us a pop to the upside, and well, it did give us a little pop, not the big pop that we were looking for, but a little pop. Okay, so it gave us a little pop, and it didn't come back up to the level that we were looking at last week, but it did do that type of idea. Okay, and now we have a new low. So that's okay if it doesn't do exactly what we're thinking, but it was really, really close. Okay, so let's go ahead here and again, I want to sell high and buy back low. All right. As we look at the yen, what can we see here? Well, I can see that we've drawn a trend line to the downside in previous price action. Just on the big weekly level, we've just kind of pierced through some fresh demand. So obviously that demand wasn't all that strong. It just gave us a little bit of consolidation. Looks like we have a level down there at 107. Moving right along here to the daily time frame, which is where I'm probably going to spend most of my time. I'm not even going to bother looking at the 60-minute chart because I don't want to be a seller down here at new lows. I want to be a seller when it's higher up, okay? So if you aren't selling when it's in that type of level, then you know, well, you're just going to have to sit through a lot more heat potentially. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on this particular market. And why don't you go ahead and take the next one there, William?
All right, here we are on the Aussie Swiss, and as you can see, we've been in a big broad range here on the Aussie Swiss. We just found buyers down here in this purple demand zone about a month ago, and now we're all the way back up to the top of the range here, up almost into the weekly zone here. We're not there yet, but we're almost there. I feel price is going to get up in there before we get a reaction back to the downside. Let's take a look at the daily. And as you can see here on the daily, big broad range plays playing out here on the daily chart as well. We just got our reaction from demand again, all the way back up here to this supply zone here at the top. Got a little reaction off of it, but now we're in a consolidation period here. So I'm expecting this thing to make a higher high up into that weekly demand, weekly supply, and then maybe we'll get a fall out of it from there. It's yet to be seen. It's kind of late to be a buyer. If you could possibly buy this up into that weekly supply, but me, I would just wait for a better opportunity to sell, to get on the sell side if this thing turns around again in that weekly supply zone. So that's basically what I'm looking at. We just formed a fresh demand here, so you know, since we formed this fresh demand, possibly we're going to get a push up into that weekly supply, which I'm expecting to happen, and then we'll find sellers. Hopefully we'll find sellers in that area again where I will look to take shorts. Let's take a look at the New Zealand dollar.
I think the trend following software did a really good job in defining the range play that we're in the middle of. So I think that was really interesting.
You talking about the Aussie Swiss?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Said
yeah,
it was rangy.
yeah. You're right. I didn't point that out, but yeah. As I said, we're in kind of in a consolidation period here on the daily, and the elite software is actually telling us that we're in an uptrend and up in rangey, which is basically what I indicated. So we're in a little bit of chop area, but I expect this thing to keep going up as we are in an uptrend. You could be a buyer for the short term if that's what you choose to do. You probably could make some money on the way up, as I feel it is going to go up. I just want to wait till it gets up there before I make a decision on being a seller again. Or if the trend's going to continue to pop through that zone and keep continuing up, which is another possibility. So just want to keep an eye on those two scenarios. But yeah, your software does an awesome job of defining trend for us. So it's great, man. You did a darn good job on it, man.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. It only took a few years to develop. That's all.
Yeah. All right, here we are on the New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here. Here on the weekly, as you can see, been in a big broad range. Here we are back at the top of the range. We're in the top of the range again in this weekly supply. So
now this is the one that I have the pick on. You remember this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember it. I remember.
I've been calling this for like a month.
Yeah. I think last week we had two opinions. Your opinion was that we were going to find buyers in this yellow zone, and I felt that we were going to find buyers down here in this brown zone again. And I think they won that discussion. But yeah, I mean, those are the two scenarios I was looking at. That his was a viable scenario, and mine was too. But mine price didn't make it to my area of interest. It decided to turn to his area of interest. And Gabe alluded that this chart pattern. He's good at recognizing chart patterns, and he mentioned that he's seen this chart pattern before, and then he felt that this was going to be a continuation of an uptrend. after this consolidation got hammered through, and that's basically what just happened. Past 2 days we've been rocking it up, and here we are back at the top of this consolidation. But this zone up here is brown. It's weak. It's been hit multiple times. We're hitting it again now. So these sell orders up in here most likely are probably going to get depleted, and we're going to end up, you know, going through this supply zone to make new highs again. So I think you had a good call on that on this pair game. Good
Yeah,
call,
it was
man.
interesting. It was interesting. So just playing the right side of the chart, you know, that's where we need to be.
Trend saying down and trending, but I think we're going up. So
Yeah, I think so too.
uh, yeah,
But that
but
pattern's way too complex. I mean, that's
yeah,
a pretty crazy pattern, you know.
yeah, yeah, it is. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the New Zealand dollar here. You want to be a buyer down here in one of these two zones, and if you pick Gabe's zone, you pick correct. So probably should be seeing a nice increase in your account if you were to get in on this down here in this demand zone down here. So uh, over to the Aussie CAD, and as you can see, we just recently found buyers down here in this demand zone, this fresh demand zone. Now, well, it's not fresh anymore, but it was fresh. And now we're back up into this brown supply zone up here. We're getting a reaction off of it. Came out of it a little bit. Let's see what's going on daily. And as you can see, here's the daily zone that we got the reaction from. That's nested in that weekly zone. Came up into it, came down, came back up into it for another retest, came back down again. This demand, I don't know if this demand is going to hold. We might fall out of it again. We, I mean, well, eh, we might fall out of it. We might get a reaction and go back up. I don't know, but we're currently in this fresh demand right now and waiting to see what happens next. Um,
Right now, it hasn't confirmed that at all. Um, to the downside, I should say, you know.
right.
So it it's still having a hard time of deciding. But I would be
Yeah.
looking for the correct engulfing patterns to give us an indication as to what's going to happen. It's at a deciding point, you know,
Mhm.
because we've just retested that weekly supply, and well, we know that the weekly supply is a whole lot weaker. And again, you know, we're just trying to do this in the direction of trend. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know, we just got to remain on the side of the trend on this one. You know, so.
Mhm.
That's it. That's all she wrote. So
Yep. Aussie yen. You want to take this one? Or you want me to
sure,
continue?
yeah, that's fine. I'll take this one.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so let's look at the big weekly chart. Kind of found some demand coming back up to supply. Looks like we have a nice little trend line intact here. So look at the wick that just barely wicked into this thing, you know, and as William would say, you know, it like respected that level on the top third of it, you know. So
Mhm.
I like that idea a lot. And over here, I don't know what all these drawings were. I don't remember. Oh, yes, I do. Gosh. Okay. So we've been watching this one for a while to pop back up to the upside here to that yellow zone, and it finally just now made it. So we're looking at this for, gosh, you know, at the beginning of the month, you know, and earlier,
Mhm.
and now it's finally there. So I just think that's kind of interesting. Like, here's our pop. We're looking for price to fail and to confirm this level, and then we'll take it back down. Okay? So trend is still down, and we just have to move this over a little bit. Actually, I'm not going to move it over because that's been our forecast for like 2 months, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah. Okay, let's come over here to the next one. All right, so moving over to the Aussie dollar, we can see that price is found support, and we're about to retest supply there at that level there from 76 up to 78. Okay, so we are just almost there. And as I look at this on the daily, pardon me, so looking at that, um, as I see this thing coming up here, to be honest with you, I like the bounce that it just did off of this zone. On the daily time frame, I feel like it is a trend follow play to the upside. You know, like that's just good. And if we look at the elite software, you know, like we're going to the upside here. You know, like we're making new highs, and it's just following with the trend very nicely. It found support in a brand new, fresh uh, daily support level or daily demand level, if you will, and now it should be going up. You know, so we know that we have weekly supply just above us. So you know, this was a really good opportunity. We've had a few different good opportunities here, but I think price will continue to go just a little bit higher before we get the interaction of this. Okay, so I'm looking for price to go boom and then back down. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Here is the euro pound. Now, this has been an interesting one. We've kind of taken a couple levels here. We've identified this level as supply. It's retested supply here, and it looks like we could be failing to break supply, as we've had a fresh supply level here on the daily chart come into effect. Okay, and I'm not even going to bother turning on and off the zones just because the mouse thing isn't just working yet. So anyway, looks like we're bouncing out of that fresh supply level and weekly level, and it may be a nice little possible trend line. So I'm just gonna mark that on the chart, maybe, and we will see how it goes. So, but this is an interesting opportunity here. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you take the next one, bud.
All right, man. On to the euro dollar. Here we are on the euro dollar. Um, Here we are. Uh, Basically, this euro dollar's been a big broad range here on the weekly. You can see it, just big broad range. Uh, Seems it formed a demand zone over here, and we're bouncing off of it. 3 weeks, been 3 weeks into it now, and we're back in the supply. So, uh, big broad range. But, go ahead, Gabe. You about to say something?
Observation. You remember the one market that we were just looking at where we're forecasting that out, you know, like a few months ahead on that daily chart? It's the
Uh-huh.
same exact pattern on this one. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. We just bounced out of that yellow zone, but the yellow zone is a fresh zone, you know, and now
Right.
we're bouncing right. I bet we're going to make a new high on this thing. So
Yeah.
uh, the same pattern, but it's on a weekly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy how these patterns work, you know? I don't even know
No,
what to
it's
call that one.
I don't know either, but you see it, and I see it too. But
That means
you know
this is
that.
I would think that this would be like a yearly thing. If
I
this
guess.
pattern is being
Yeah.
pulled from the weekly,
Right.
because you know, we had the retest of consolidation, the nice pop from that news announcement. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
going to come up here
Mm-hmm.
and probably up there over the next 6 months to a year, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's the same exact pattern. It's just on the bigger time frame. That's crazy.
Yeah. That just goes to show the true fractal nature of these markets. You know, it's all fractals. You know, just bigger time frames. They all the time frames do the same thing over and over and over. It's just one's bigger than the next. You're seeing it here on the weekly, like we did on the daily. You know, on the other chart that we are just looking at. Uh, play out again. So here we are, and like Gabe said, looks like we're making a new trend to the upside, and possibly gonna make higher highs and continue on up, and we'll see what happens. But for right now, we're in this supply zone here, and we could, like, we're at the first third of it, and if we don't get a reaction here at the first third like we did back before, I expect to get a reaction in the last third of it. And then when we see that, as Gabe has illustrated here with this little check mark pattern, could see a little fall and then another rise out of it, through it. So, you know, keep that in mind. Here we are on the daily, and you can see here's that news announcement day where we just got that big pop. Got a little consolidation period here after that. Markets took a little rest, took a little breather, another pop. Here we are back at this daily supply, but this supply zone is probably going to get taken out. We're going to find price up in this yellow zone before we see anything significant again, most likely. So, you know, trend is up. If you're looking to get in on the trend, you know, do so accordingly on your entry time frame, and I wouldn't look to take a big chunk yet. You might want to set your targets accordingly, because you know, we might encounter sellers up in here, especially where this wick is. See this wick? I pay attention to these big wicks, man. You know, I look at those and I pay attention to them, because lots of times, man, the price just left this price left this area in a hurry. So there could be potential sellers back in that area once we get up in here. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, it's basically just for the euro dollar here. Let's take a look at the pound New Zealand.
Dude, I'm blown away by that pattern. That is crazy.
What is that pattern called? What is that?
I have no idea.
It doesn't have a name.
I don't. I'm naming it.
You're naming it?
I call dibs.
All right. Yeah, I never seen, you know, because most patterns have a name. I see it, but I just don't. I've seen it since you pointed out to me, but I've never, you know, seen it in any.
It's a reversal pattern.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's a reversal pattern. It's a long, like, range turning back into a new trend. So, but it's a reversal. Yeah. So
Right.
it's just really, really big. So anyway,
Well,
just interesting.
better put a name on it. Better put a name on it, stamp it, and certify it before somebody else jumps on it.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Here we are on the pound New Zealand. Here on the weekly, you can see this thing's just been a nice solid downtrend. We found here's that flip flop. Here's that flip flop going on here. These highs over here. You see how price reacted off of these highs. We haven't hit a zone, but we hit these previous highs. You know, previous resistance equals future support, and that's what we're seeing here. That's why we got this reaction here. Let's take a look at the daily. There might be a daily zone down there. Yeah, there it is. There's a daily zone right there. But even without that zone being there, if you pay attention to flip flops, you probably would have expected price to, you know, react in this manner on the weekly, and which it did. But it's because this daily zone's here as well. So I don't know how far this zone goes back. Where is it? Data. Okay, from
May.
May of last year. So
Yeah.
pretty old zone, but as you can see, price is reacting off of it. Found buyers for the short term, and we're in the new daily supply zone. We just got to drop out of it. So this zone's pretty weak. It's, you know, it's purple already. It's been hit a few times. I expect price to continue down and through it as we are in a downtrend. and this trend's been intact and it's been strong.
Mhm.
So yeah, now all you want to do is try to find opportunities to jump on board and get in with the trend. So you would do that on your entry chart, and I'm pretty sure you guys know how to do that. And that's basically all you're waiting for, an opportunity to jump on to the downside. There's that software telling us down and trending, down and trending.
Mhm.
So yep.
Good stuff, man. Of
Oh
course,
yeah.
we hope it would be obvious to begin with, but it really helps when the software tells you, you know. So
Oh yeah.